Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Butler Beat. I'm Tyler Springer. Well, all throughout the week, students have been taking a stand against human trafficking by participating in Butler's second annual Social Justice Week. Here to talk more about the significance of the week is a member of the Social Justice Week Planning Committee, Catherine Miller. Catherine, thanks so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, so, why is Social Justice Week important to do here on Butler's campus?
I think it's important because a lot of people don't know that human trafficking happens here. I think a lot of us think, oh, well, that doesn't happen here because that's something we see in movies like Taken. That's something that happens over in the East. It doesn't happen in America because this is a safe place.
Right.
But it's actually extremely prevalent even in Indianapolis.
Mm-hmm.
And there are more slaves today than ever before in history.
So, what is kind of Social Justice Week in a nutshell?
Social Justice Week in a nutshell is trying to get awareness out that it is a problem and trying to prioritize it so that it can be changed in the future.
Mm-hmm. So then what would you say to maybe a critic who would say, well, Catherine, we know that human trafficking is a problem.
Mm-hmm.
We know it. Why do we need a whole week to have awareness of it on a college campus?
I would probably ask them that if everyone knows about it, why hasn't it changed? Because I think a lot of people don't know the facts, or maybe they're removed from the situation, or they care, or they have other priorities. But I think this needs to be a priority because if there are more slaves than ever today, when slavery has been abolished, that's concerning.
It is. And so then how do you kind of address this message to a college campus setting? How do you tailor it to these college kids?
I would say that when you enter the workforce from your undergraduate, you need to be aware when you're traveling, when it's our time to take over the country, when we're the ones in power, so that we start early so it can kind of be more progressive as we get older.
So then how do you become aware of it? How do you take part in this? How do you kind of be an advocate to become aware of this and solve the problem, this big problem of human trafficking from a Butler standpoint?
Well, from a Butler standpoint, this week we've had a documentary, we've had a guest speaker. In Indianapolis, there's a nonprofit that just started called Restored. It works with domestic human trafficking. Also, there are websites you can look at to find facts. You can talk to anyone on the Social Justice Week Planning Committee. We have handouts at Starbucks today, and you can visit places like International Justice Mission website. It's one of the organizations that we kind of sponsor a little bit.
And you guys are doing the Stand for Freedom, is that correct, this morning?
Yes, we are.
What's that all about?
We will be standing from 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. outside of Starbucks. We'll be tracing our feet with chalk, and that's kind of like a symbolic stand for people that can't stand up for themselves. It's just kind of a way to show people, hey, we're taking care of this because we want you to know that it's happening.
And how's the turnout been so far?
It's been really good. There are a lot of footprints traced outside of Starbucks. We have signs. People have come and held signs with us. We have music playing. So it doesn't need to be this depressing 12 hours, but it also needs to be this is what's happening and these are the facts.
And obviously this isn't just a week-long problem. It happens, throughout the year. Are there things that you could recommend students to do if they would like to take part and become kind of an advocate for this problem at a different time, even if it's not just this week?
Absolutely. We're trying to become an official organization on Butler's campus. So we're going to start, hopefully, that process and doing more things throughout the year. And also there are so many nonprofits or organizations you can volunteer at, and they always need more volunteers. There are never enough. And so even visiting Restored's website, there are always volunteer positions posted.
Sure. And so the organization would kind of be doing the same things that you guys have been doing this week, promoting the problem and showing movies and that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. And they also work one-on-one with people who have been trafficked.
Sure. And so obviously there was, you're on the planning committee for this week, and there was a time where you kind of said, well, I don't want to just, be involved in this week. I want to be on the planning committee. So how did that step occur?
Well, I actually had no idea what meeting I was walking into.
Really?
My friend, it was the beginning of the semester, and I said, I'm going to get more involved on Butler's campus this semester. And she said, well, come to this meeting with me. I was like, okay. And so I got there, and I didn't know what it was about. And then I heard Claire, who's one of the co-directors, talk about it. And I was like, this is terrible. Why are people not doing anything about this? It's a heartbreaking issue. And it just blows my mind that 36 million people are in slavery today when it's been abolished. And I thought, okay, well, if they need people to help, I can do something to help.
Yeah. And what is that? I mean, what can you do to help? I mean, this is a huge problem, obviously. So how do you kind of bring your talents and your background to the planning committee to plan this thing?
Well, for me, I was in charge of talking to Tracy McDaniels and kind of organizing that setup. Sometimes it was even little tasks like we designed a t-shirt, like maybe bouncing ideas off of each other. I took the steps to figure out how we can become an official organization. Then other people did PR work. Clara and Danielle did so much to get ready for this. Like, I can't even describe how much work and effort they put in this.
Yeah.
So everyone has different talents, and all the different talents are necessary. And even in the nonprofits, everyone can help. There's a computer science major, there's an accounting major, there's a communications major. So everyone can do something if they want to.
It's a team effort. So talk to me about some of that kind of planning from what you know. I mean, what kind of prep went into planning this whole thing during this week?
Well, we've been planning it since the very beginning of the semester, which I was surprised about when I first got in the meeting. I thought it would be like in 2 weeks. And Claire goes, no, it's in April, as it's January. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So Claire had to contact Restored, which is Tracy McDaniels' nonprofit. We had to set up a time for her to become a guest speaker. They were originally going to have an open mic night, so we had to talk to the coffee house people about kind of borrowing their equipment, getting things approved. We had to approve flyers being set up. We had to talk to people about like being allowed to set up outside Starbucks. And it's a busy week also because there are things like spring sports and the Final Four. And so it was just kind of coordinating every little detail along with getting schoolwork done.
Yeah, that's you always got to do the schoolwork too.
Yeah.
And did you have to did you guys partner with other organizations or businesses that kind of do the same thing?
Because we are not an official organization yet, we have to be sponsored by something. So at the moment, we are sponsored by Crew, but that's when we need like documents signed. They've been super supportive. We actually took Crew's time slot to show Nefarious, the documentary we watched last night.
And so what's kind of next? What's the next step for you guys? Obviously going into this organization. Do you have a name for the organization yet?
Well, that's going to depend if we become an IJM chapter. IJM is International Justice Mission. It's a Christian organization. And so we've all been kind of talking about if we're going to do a faith-based organization or if we're going to start our own. Because even though like every type of religion has really helpful organizations. Like, I don't think anyone can say anything bad about charity work or missions trips.
Sure.
But we don't want anyone to not join because they don't feel like they have to be a Christian when that's not the case at all.
Sure. And you yourself plan on keeping going with this social justice?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
We're hoping to make it bigger next year.
Good, good. Well, hey, Catherine, thank you so much for being here this morning. And if you would like to sign the petition for the Human Prioritization Act, you can do so by heading to the Butler Social Justice Week Facebook page. You'll see a link that will take you to the petition. I'm Tyler Springer, and you've been watching the Butler Beat.